Hey, Big Brother fans, let's talk about Chelsie and how she is big mad right now about Cam getting his flirt on with Makensy. But the thing is, Chelsie has humiliated him on the feeds and said the most horrible things about Cam. If you watch the feeds, you may know this. But even so, Chelsie is staking a claim on him despite simultaneously seeming to hate almost everything about the guy. So just what had me wanting to unpack this today was in the HOH room, was it last night before? Quinn and his cronies got together, and then everybody else joined in the room because they were trying to block any game talk. And Makensy was laying on the HOH bed. Leah was on her left, and MJ was kind of touchy-feely with her, petting her hair, scratching her back, rubbing her arm, stuff like that. And then Cam literally came running from across the room and threw himself onto the bed, almost on top of MJ's legs. And Cam laid his head on Makensy's thigh because he wanted to get some petting too. And so she was petting his hair. And then Cam wrapped his arm completely around her leg and was, kind of hanging on, closed his eyes, totally chill. I don't know if he dozed off or was just laying there with his eyes closed, relaxing, getting his little head rub on. So Chelsie was in the room too, but then she kind of stormed out once Cam wrapped himself around MJ's leg. And just to be fair, this was not intimate. Everybody was dressed. There was a whole room of people. And at one point, MJ was simultaneously scratching his head and Leah's back. So, for the most part, to me, it looked like the kind of standard touchy-feely stuff that's pretty common this deep into the Big Brother game, where they all know each other so well, and they're probably a little touch-starved from being away from family, loved ones, all that. So was this Cam making a play for Makensy right in front of Chelsie? Was this MJ making a plan to steal Chelsea's man, or is this Cam doing game strategy? Or is Chelsie being salty about someone who's not her man, who is doing what he wants because he's single? There's a lot of ways to look at this. So just looking back at Cam, the whole range of this game in BB26, he did have that early vibe with Leah. There was, Cam and her flirting, and then that kind of tapered off because Leah wasn't looking for a showmance, but also because Chelsie kind of said some things to Leah about Cam just being nasty and deliberately, I think, was turning her off of him, because we know from the feeds, Chelsie has had her eye on Cam from day one. And so after the whole Leah-Cam flirtmance thing tapered off, then he and Chelsie have been talking, but she and Cam are not actively showmancing and don't plan to. So at a glance, looking at this MJ Cam thing, you may go, oh, he's betraying Chelsie. He's getting too close to Makensy. But there's more things going on that I think need some context. First of all, Chelsie and Cam are not in any kind of showmance, much less a public showmance. Second of all, Chelsie said that she talked to Cam about dating outside the house when BB26 was done, and he said, maybe. So that is not a hard and fast plan for a real world romance. And then Tuesday, I think it was, after the whole bed and head scratchy incident, Chelsie was talking to T-Core and then was talking about how she's paranoid about Cam, like Rubina was paranoid about Tucker. And she was saying that he's like mean to her during the day and then talks to her at night. And there's a whole lot to this. And Chelsie said she doesn't know why Cam's moving in this house like he is. And she griped that he's latching himself onto many women, saying he gives certain attention, certain energy. And then Chelsie said she wonders if Cam has been talking to her to cover his bases in the game, get her vote. And she said, I just don't like it. So interesting also, in that same set of conversations, Chelsie wasn't blaming MJ because she says she knows she doesn't know that Chelsie and Cam have feelings for each other. Now, I haven't heard Cam admitting to feelings about Chelsie, if he has said anything. She told T-Core he's a man of few words. I don't know if it's one-sided on Chelsea's side, or we just haven't necessarily seen a lot of it on the feeds, because they don't give Cam a lot of feed time or DR time or anything. But also, anytime a conversation starts to get good on the live feeds, those jerks up in the control room are going to swap the feeds to somebody making a sandwich or sitting alone in a room taking a nap, So this Chelsie Cam thing did start while he was flirting with Leah. And then she told T-Core that Cam was dropping hints that his attention was shifting from Leah over to her. Just a side note, maybe that's what's happening now. And he's shifting his attention again, but over to Makensy. So Chelsie, after the Scritchy incident, kind of, I think, tried to stake a claim by telling MJ that she has a crush on Cam. But again, that's talking about one side of things and not the other. And Makensy told her that she and Cam are friends and just feel comfortable around each other. So I see some fans wondering if Cam just wants a showmance with anyone and is looking at Makensy now because it didn't manifest with Leah. And Chelsie said she's focused on the game and nothing's going to happen in the house. Or maybe Cam's tired of the way Chelsie talks to him. And that's just what she says to his face. I can't even. Once Cam finds out how Chelsie has talked about him to America on the live feeds, I don't know if he's going to talk to her again. I would hate the idea of his friends and family hearing some of the things she has said, but they probably have. Just for instance, Chelsie said on the feeds multiple times, Cam's feet are crusty and smell, and that he smells. She has sniffed his shoes and socks and talked about them. One of the scenes that I was looking at, Chelsie had picked up his shoe and was showing it to the camera, talking about how Cam has old shoes full of, as she says, ashy foot crust, and was just talking about how nasty it was. She said the math isn't mathing, and then Chelsie said it's the pretty ones. You got to make sure they're taking showers. And then she said she was iffy about Cam. And then she said God spent extra time on his face, and she called him fine. But then Chelsie was saying she questions if Cam washes his cracks. Now, a lot of this is just her talking to the cameras. Nobody is in the room. She's just singling him out for this abuse that I don't know if she's not thinking he's going to see this at one point, because surely he will. She was talking about how he's got musty, dusty little crust toes and said he's not washing them in the shower. And then she said, while talking on the feeds, ask me where I stand with that man. Does hell go with no? So she was saying, hell no, I'm not interested in him. And then we have this whole vibe happening now. In one of these talks, she had picked up Cam's shoe with a paper towel and was trying to show it to the cameras. And then Chelsie said she's going to go throw the paper towel away and wash her hands before she gets shingles. Exact words, by the way. And then, so on the feeds, the morning after the head scratchy incident, when I was thinking about all the things she had said about his feet being disgusting, we see Makensy and Cam, they're laying around on one of the blue sofas, and they kind of have like a knee crossed over another knee, and they have their feet pressed up against each other. So MJ doesn't have a problem with his musty, dusty, crusty toes. And then back a couple of weeks ago, Chelsie was getting Tucker and Chemo and others to rag on Cam's shoes and feet on the live feeds. She pretty much openly discouraged Leah away from him. And it's not just his feet. Another time on the feeds, Chelsie showed a pair of Cam's black underwear to the camera and was talking about his butt juice. And nothing was on them. They were dark underwear. And even if he was wearing tighty whities and a left skids, I mean, why would you dig into a man's dirty laundry and handle them and show them to the cameras? That just seems cruel. And Chelsie went off with T-Core and Rubina about Makensy and down in the kitchen after the head incident. And she was saying that Cam should pet his own damned head because he is a grown ass man. So she's very bothered by all this But, Cam's single. Chelsea's single. Makensy is single. Again, there's no official showmance between Cam and Chelsie other than her admitting this crush to multiple people. I don't know what he's been saying to her. As we said, man, a few words, all that. But then Chelsie has absolutely humiliated him on the feeds in ways he doesn't even know about, and also in ways that Cam does know about, like when Chelsie literally Febrezed him because she doesn't like the way he smells. I don't know why she even wants him at this point, because she seems to despise everything about him except his face, which let's be clear, objectively hot, as is his physique. But the reality of Cam doesn't seem to appeal to her. Like maybe she'd just like a picture of him, but the scratch and sniff version, she doesn't like at all. And then there's this, when BB26 is over, Cam's going to talk to his friends, his family, and I'm sure they're going to tell him the horrible things Chelsie said about him over and over again on the live feeds behind his back. For me, and for that reason alone, I don't see any real world Chelsie Cam romance manifesting, because that would be a whole lot for him to get over. She has said a lot of things about everything about him but his face, basically. So let me know. Weigh in the comments here on this Cam, Chelsie, and Makensy thing. I'm very curious. I see it being pretty polarizing on social media. My big thing is, at the end of the day, once he gets out of the house and sees the feeds, I think it's a deal breaker. But let me know what you guys think, and come back soon for more BB26 live feed updates.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.